I think it's interesting that you started this um, in the year 2020, and
Yeah.
I'm always making people mad, so I don't have a problem saying that they were riots, they weren't protests. Um, so, but with that going on, I know you talked. One of the things you wanted to talk about, and we talked a little bit beforehand about,
Mhm.
was the whole idea of uh, voting the Christian way.
Yeah.
I told you that I recorded earlier today with Cody, and we talked about voting as a Christian, and how does that look? Like, is it wrong for Christians to not vote, or do
Mhm.
how do Christians go about this? And I know for you, it's a little different because you're going to be your first chance to really get out and vote.
Yes.
And so for you, voting the Christian way, what does that look like?
So the main thing that pops into my brain, and again, I'm saying this because I know this is my own, not my own podcast, and I can kind of branch out a little bit.
Right,
Is the main thing for me is the whole abortion, like debate, right? Because when like I said, I was almost not born,
right,
right? But
right.
look, God has gotten me here for a reason. And the way I see it is, if I was born today with these laws in place for like the abortion stuff, I wouldn't be here. They'd want me. I would be gone. You
Yeah,
know. And like I know that's a big what if, but that was a possibility. If you know what I'm saying. And so that's the way I see it is, and that's like one of the biggest things for me is you know that is life right there. I don't care the way I don't care. Like that is another soul. That is a life.
yep,
And that is like a really big push for me. I know that I'm probably not going to agree with what one side does, what this is, but that's like the main thing. I mean, one of the main things for me. I mean, of
yeah,
course, there's the whole. I mean, and I can't say that like economically, like what all that. I can't really say that's a big push for me because guess what? I don't have a job, so like
yeah,
I don't feed into the economy right now.
right,
But I can see like through my parents and through other people, like friends that have a job, and pay for things that and when it comes to voting in a certain way, what would get more money in your pocket? Um,
right,
you know, that's just one example. But yeah, for me, probably the abortion thing is that's a big thing. And also, not being, you got to think, too, there's one way, I think, I don't remember what law it was, but I think somebody told me there was a law passed where you can bring your Bible in school now. But guess what? It was covered up. You know, you didn't hear about it, did you?
uh-uh,
Nobody did. I didn't know it was a thing. I was told, but you have to dig. You know, and that's where the thing about it is too. I feel like if I'm just saying, if one side is in office, I feel like we would hear more of that stuff. Because they're more open. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they're a lot less. I mean, both sides are shady. I'm not
oh
saying they're
yeah,
not, because but there are. I just feel like one side is more open than the other, and you get a lot more transparency, which is what you need
yeah,
from your officials. I mean, you got to know what's going on. Like, you can't just, be left in the dark, which I feel like sometimes we are, the
yeah,
way things are right now. Like, there could be some shady deals going on right now, and we have no idea,
yeah.
you know,
Um,
and it's scary to think about.
Yeah, no, I'd agree, and this is Cody and I kind of touched on some similar topics. We did talk about um the abortion issue, and so
Hmm.
basically, and you bring up a good point too that we actually didn't touch on with the economics stuff, and I think that is something that I've thought about. I've looked into it. Like I know maybe a little bit more about it because I have a job. I've been in
Right.
the market and stuff like that for a little while, but as much as I do take that into account, and as important as that is, that going into it as a Christian, that can't be my top priority.
Mm-mm.
That
Nope.
absolutely cannot be. Um, Now I can consider that, and if the top issues that I have are, let's say there's two candidates and they're both basically the same on my top three issues that are more moral issues, and the really biggest difference is economic stuff. Well, yeah, then I'll take that into account. But right now, the abortion thing is one of the biggest issues, um, and it's very very clear. Like Cody and I even said, I I don't consider myself a Republican because there are, as you said, there are shady characters on both sides, and
Yeah.
both sides are really not all that great.
I just
Um,
call myself a patriot, a Christian patriot,
well, the
like,
so the thing with it though is, and I don't have issue saying this with the stances that the Democratic Party is making publicly that they stand behind. Now, not every single person that's a Democrat supports this, but the party overall,
hmm
I have a hard time seeing you saying that you're behind that you're a Democrat if you're also a Christian, because there's
yeah,
stuff um, talking about abortion that they're pro.
hmm
There's we Cody and I talked on the illegal immigration stuff, which
yep,
as a Christian, okay, at first it sounds like, well, you want people to be able to come here and have an opportunity. But I brought up, there's a clip from Dr. Phil. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and there's someone at Border Patrol who I mean,
yeah.
straight up
That was
said,
recent. Yeah,
yeah, and he said it is pretty much guaranteed that these kids are being trafficked over and sent to um, child sex trafficking rings,
see,
and
it'd be
it's
one
being
thing if
funded.
they were good people, but they're not. I mean, I know it
Right.
sounds terrible, but they're dangerous. Like,
Right, and
they're not.
well, that's the thing,
Yeah,
the people that wouldn't be doing that stuff would probably still try to come legally if it was harder to get through illegally.
hmm
So, I don't have a problem necessarily with immigration, I have a problem with the wide open borders because
yeah,
that's hurting the kids that are being pushed across, and then, I also shared, when I was on with Cody, 3 stories that all took place within a week of each other. One
yeah.
was
Yeah,
up
you
in
talking
it.
about the girl? Yeah, in
Yeah, one
Athens.
was yep, there was
Uh
that
huh.
one. There was
Yeah.
I don't know where it was, but there was another one. It was, an illegal alien who,
hmm
murdered a toddler, and then there was
Ugh.
another one that he, uh, raped an 11-year-old. And
Mm-mm.
so, and they're illegal immigrants that came across, and I think at least 2 of them, they had been caught doing stuff before, and they knew that
hmm
they had been caught doing stuff before, and they let them come across. So,
Yeah.
how is that as a Christian? How do you get behind that and say, like, this is what Jesus would want? This is what God would want us to do?
Yeah.
Like,
And I was sitting and thinking about the Athens thing because that's been the biggest story,
Mhm.
that I've seen out of the three. I've not actually heard of the other two.
Yeah.
All of them are equally terrible. But the one in Athens, I was sitting there thinking, I am praying that these students, especially because colleges are probably some of the most corrupt places, that you can think of. I'm praying that if anything good comes out of this, and I'm not saying that her death was a good thing because it was not, but
Right.
if anything comes out of it, they need to look at this and reevaluate, man, think about why that person was led across. And then when they go to vote, they need to think about it,
Yeah.
you know? Um, because I mean, it's crazy to think, it just kind of makes me think about it. I've got two friends that they're going to UGA, and I'm like, I'm so thankful they're up in the security because of that now, because I think about two or three friends that they got accepted and they're going, and I'm so happy for them. And I'm like, please be safe up there
Yeah.
because of all that. Um, but I hope those college kids they look and they really think about, because I saw somebody that's in my grade. She's a wonderful person, but she's like, I just don't see how this is a border issue. And I mean, if you don't see that, then I'm sorry, but you might be book smart, but common sense, you need to do your research. Is all I'm gonna say. Because I mean, it's simple. An
Yep.
illegal comes across the border and kills the girl, but because he was able to come in and just step right over. But if there was laws in place and then background checks in place, well, guess what? She'd probably still be here.
Yeah.
It's simple,
Yep.
but they just don't want to see that because they're too blinded by other issues,
Yeah. Nope, a
and it
100%.
hurts.
It does, and that's something that statistically Americans are in agreement on. Most Americans actually, again, based on the polls, most Americans want to definitely cut down on the illegal immigration, but most Americans also want to cut down on legal immigration. They want less people coming in total. And like I said, that's something I don't have so much an issue with the legal immigration. I think that
No, yeah,
the rules and stuff that are there, it's there's tests you have to go through. There's
right.
background checks. There's all this other stuff. And if someone's willing to do all of that to come
Hmm.
across and become a citizen, I don't have an issue with someone going about that way. But
Yeah,
I
I don't
just did.
either, but it's just the whole thing of, if they're there but they're not even being used, then it's like they're not even being followed,
Yep.
by this administration. They're just being thrown out to the wayside, and
Yep.
it's like they're there for a reason, people. Like,
Yep.
wake up. Like, we
Yeah.
have rules for a reason. Like, I'm all for, if you want a better life here, that's great. Come, but come the right way, because we set those rules in for a reason.
Yep.
I mean, because if you want to come the right way, you know, you don't want to get harmed by somebody, that came in illegally, and,
Yeah.
because you want a better life, right? Well, then, like, and plus, this is a whole nother can of worms, but I just thought about it. My friend Baines, he's all into like the Daily Wire, and he tells me some of the stuff and shows me some of it. Like, that Matt Walsh is what is a
What is a
woman?
woman?
Like,
Yep.
when he went over to Africa, right?
Yep.
Or somewhere over there, and talked to them, and like they started laughing.
Yeah.
And
It's not even.
he asked them, he said, "Would you go and live there?" And they were like, "Oh, heck no."
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to. No, people don't want to live, like, the good people. They don't want to come here anymore
Yeah.
because they feel like they're threatened or afraid. They're like, I don't want to get brainwashed by
Yeah.
this, these weird things that's going on. They look at other countries and everything. They look at us and just laugh in our faces.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
100%.
and they're like, "What's going on?" And I'm saying the same thing. I'm like, "What's," because somebody, I can't think of his name. I think his name is Nathan. He's like the Scarlet Chosen Inventor or something like that on Instagram. You might have seen his page. Like, he messaged me, or something it was a couple weeks ago now, maybe about a month ago. He's like, "Man, I'm so scared about how, the country's going." I'm like, "Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff that we can't control, but, we just need to pray about the stuff that we can control."
Yep.
I mean,
And that's
there's nothing we're gonna be able to do about it except for vote, and that's it.
yeah, and that's kind of my point when it comes to the economic stuff. I prioritize the things that are moral issues, and then as far as the economy stuff goes, my job is not my provider. They give me a paycheck, but they're not my provider. Ultimately, my provider is God, and so regardless of what happens with the economy, regardless of all of that, I just put my faith there, and I need to be voting in a way that is going to most accurately reflect oh what I think would reflect Christ the most.